What is up, Mizzou fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com, covering your Missouri Tigers. He's Brayden Dowers, and a couple of Missouri coaches recently had their contracts extended. We're going to talk about what it means right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another video on my channel tonight. I am joined by my good friend, Brayden Dowers, and we got a little bit of Mizzou football coaching news to talk about in this video. We just made a video before this breaking down the Missouri Tigers quarterback battle for 2025. Definitely check that out after you're done watching this one. But this definitely was some news that I wanted to go over. So we're a little bit late on this specific piece, but the Missouri Tigers recently extended head coach Eli Drinkwitz, and it did not give him a raise. It extended him through 2029, did not give him a raise at all, although he's already a top 20 highest paid head coach in all of CFB right now, I think. So it's not like he was really due for a raise necessarily. But the important part, and what this tweet points out, is that this increases the salary pool for assistants on Drinkwitz's staff. And then shortly after that, and earlier today, Brayden, we got the news from Pete Thamel. Missouri has agreed to a new 3-year contract extension with defensive coordinator Corey Batoon. He's in his second year. First season was in 2024. Finished number 4 in the SEC in points per game and 20th in total defense. Now, Brayden, the Drinkwitz extension, I mean, it's really just an extension in name, but we know that these extensions don't mean too much, but, you know, it gives Drinkwitz more money for his support staff. And I don't think it's a coincidence that shortly after the Drinkwitz extension that gave him more money for the staff pool, we see Corey Batoon get extended. But what was interesting to me, Brayden, was the timing of this, because we got the extension for Corey Batoon, who's going into his second year. And, you know, I think he did a decent job, all things considered, in year 1. And he was hired very late in the offseason, too. Yeah. I think a lot of people forget that after Snake Baker skipped town on us. But, you know, it is a little bit of questionable timing for me for an extension for Corey Batoon, but definitely interested your thoughts on this, what your reaction was to really, I mean, you can comment on both extensions, but specifically Corey Batoon as well.
Does the drink extension, does that like raise his buyout price at all by chance?
I don't think it did.
Okay.
And also his buyout is actually, I think, surprisingly small, but
no, with the drink extension, I mean, it's a good move for him to just open up more money for the support staff, and that shows his commitment to the school. I mean, like I mentioned and what we just talked about, the buyout, if that didn't go up too much, then that doesn't really change the possibility of him getting poached from another bigger school. Maybe Michigan goes after a guy like him, depending on what happens there with their recruiting stuff and everything going on. But that's not really the topic on hand. So it's cool to see him open up more salary for the staff so he can get more guys and pay the staff. It's a very selfless move. And getting Corey Batoon extended, like you said, it does feel like a pretty weird time to do it, like right before the season starts, and when you only have 1 year under your belt to already deserve a raise and a contract extension. And like, I like Corey Batoon, and I think that he's done a fine job, but I'm just kind of indifferent on it because he had a pretty good defense, not a great defense, but again, he came into the Tigers defensive room pretty late because Snake Baker left late for LSU.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job with the guys that he had, and he didn't really get any of his guys or any guys that he really liked in the portal. Whereas this year he could shape the defense and get guys on the team that he really wanted. So this is like the first true season of a Corey Batoon defense and what we get to see in it. And I'm really excited for that. And that's one of the most underrated parts of what this Missouri Tigers defense has going for it this year with Catalan and a few of the other guys that we've got, Damian Wilson. and a few of the other guys that are coming back from injury. So we have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, and it can be more akin to what Corey Batoon's vision is for this defense and what he wants to do. But I don't know why you give him an extension before you see what he truly is, unless Drink just really believes and really wants to lock him down and make it really difficult for any school to poach him, or if they do get Mizzou a lot of money for it.
I almost kind of wonder if like they had some indication that like another school was looking at Corey Batoon or something like that.
That would be my thought, is that somebody was eyeing him for whatever
sniffing around
role.
maybe. But here's what I'll say though, because I agree with you, and I like Corey Batoon, and I think last year he kind of tried to keep it as similar to Blake Baker's defense as possible with the guys that he had, while also trying to add his own elements. And it led to a lot of mixed results because, like, you saw the numbers that Pete Thamel put out. The numbers say that Missouri was a really good defense, and I think they were good, but they definitely had some games where it just kind of felt like, you know, what's going on. For sure. And the Texas A&M one is the one that stands out, right? I mean, that's just a complete failure by the coaches. But I think Corey Batoon this year is now going to run what he wants to run. You know, there's no more elements of Blake Baker to this defense. And I think it's very obvious that Batoon wants to, you know, rush with only 3 or 4 and then drop his guys back into coverage. And I think early in the year, which is when the defense mainly struggled, you know, the pass rush wasn't really getting home the way that I think a lot of people thought it would. But I mean, when you see these coaches talk about the pass rush, I mean, Drinkwitz seems, it's like he blushes every time he talks about the pass rush. Like, they're anticipated to be one of the best defensive fronts in the SEC. And I think that's going to lead to a much better Corey Batoon defense. And I think, you know, going into year 2, it's a weird time to extend him, but I think Corey Batoon is slated to have a much better year 2. And like you said, this is almost kind of like year 1 for Batoon, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line talent is definitely better than it was last year with, is it Damian Wilson that we got back from injury, or Darius Smith?
Darius Smith, and then Damian Wilson's the newcomer. And
okay.
Then you got Chris McClellan
the 2 Georgia defensive ends that we have, and then Chris McClellan is really good.
Zion Young's really back. Good. They got Nate Johnson, who was freshman All-American 2 years ago. He's maybe like 4th on the depth chart, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
like, they have so much depth and so many different guys that can rush the passer. So that group is going to be really good. And then Catalan in the secondary, I think, is going to be a phenomenal player. And everybody that they have in the secondary coming back, whether it be Norwood or Pride or Darius
or Nick DeLoach, and then they brought in Stephen Hall.
Is Carnell's the one that's back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Carnell. With Carnell back, like, the secondary got much needed depth this offseason, because that was the main issue the first half of the season, was blown coverages and just missed assignments in the secondary. And then in the second half of the season, it felt like a lot of the run defense was just getting gashed. And that might have been because of the injuries to the linebackers, but we have extra linebacker depth now. And this entire defense, the depth of it is really good. And like we said, is just going to be more about, they're going to be more keen to what Corey Batoon's vision is for this defense. And that is a really exciting aspect of what to expect from the Missouri Tigers defense coming into this year. And I'm fine with extending him if we truly believe in his defense and what they're going to do and what they're going to accomplish. But at the same time, extending a guy going into year 2, unless you truly, really believe in him, could come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's not an extension I'm complaining about. And look, again, like a lot of these extensions for coaches mean nothing. You know, Corey Batoon could have a good year and then end up leaving for somewhere else. And that's just kind of how this game works. Yeah. And then you talked about Drinkwitz and, you know, maybe one of those bigger programs trying to come after him. And that kind of brings me to another point I wanted to make, and then we'll wrap up this video. But, you know, I think Drinkwitz getting that extension and then getting the increased budget for the assistant coaches. It's just another sign of commitment from this university towards Drinkwitz as the head football coach. He says, hey, I need more money for my assistants. Mizzou says, no problem. We'll give that to you. And I just think it's another sign. And Mizzou has done everything right by Drinkwitz. They're giving him the big stadium that he wanted. They built him the indoor practice facility. There was the whole thing with DRF, and the board of curators essentially chose Drink over DRF, and they said, this is our guy. They stood by him. I mean, Drinkwitz is the most powerful man on campus right now. And if you want to make the case that Drinkwitz shouldn't go anywhere else, even if, let's say, Michigan does come calling, it's that Mizzou's providing you pretty much everything. And what can they not provide you at this point that Michigan can? And I know there is a case, of course, for Michigan, and
it's just the history
but that's
Michigan is.
But the thing is, all that's becoming increasingly more irrelevant in this new NIL transfer portal era. So,
and Drink's built himself a pretty good foundation and home at Mizzou to the point where I really don't see him leaving. Like, Gary Pinkel was always a hot commodity and a hot topic for could he go somewhere else, really Washington, because he's from the Seattle area, I believe. And Pinkel was always in the name as a potential head coach at Washington or somewhere in the Pac-12, going back to that region where he's from. But for Drink, he's from Arkansas. He's never going to go coach for Arkansas because we got him and the Razorbacks had to pivot to Sam Pittman. And like, Drink's built his home in Columbia, and it would take a lot in a really big school for him to leave. Like, at this point, it would have to be one of the blue bloods like Michigan, like Ohio State, like Georgia, like Alabama, that I would really see him leaving for. I don't see him leaving for really anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And also, those places have much higher expectations. They're a lot more volatile at the head coaching position. I mean, you could stay at Missouri and win 8 games a year and never get fired, really. I mean, obviously, at some point, people would expect more, but like, realistically, Drink's not going to be on the hot seat for winning 8 or 9 games. Where at other places, that's not the case.
For sure.
So I think we're in agreement, but definitely want to get your guys' thoughts in the comments on Missouri extending both Drinkwitz and now defensive coordinator Corey Batoon in the previous couple weeks. Definitely let us know your thoughts. All that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Mizzou fans can find this. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com. Check out the Twitter at showmefb. And then, Brayden, I know you kind of already gave your movie recommendations in the last video we literally just did, but you'd never mentioned Fantastic Four. So what are your thoughts on Fantastic Four?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. I was trying to think of another movie that I saw, but Fantastic Four is pretty good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was probably the best Marvel movie since Infinity War, Endgame, that 2-movie split. And Superman was also really good. I've been enjoying almost every single movie that I've seen that's come out this year. Yeah, they were both really solid superhero movies. So if you like superhero movies, both of them are really good.
There you guys have it. That's all we got for this one. We'll see you all in the next one. And as always, MIZ.
ZOU.